Hi, I'm Tom Donahue, your host for BROC Talk Program Spotlight. This will be a new program brought to you by BROC Community Action. And what we'd like to do is talk about the many programs we have at BROC Community Action. And the program Spotlight concept is to sort of have the program leaders of the different initiatives that are going on throughout the year at BROC Community Action to talk about the program and how to access it. Many of the programs we do are critical, essential services that we bring to the community, those in need. But also we have a two-pronged approach at BROC Community Action where we have prong number one, which is sort of that crisis assistance and help forward in many ways through that crisis. But the second prong is to help people with a path forward. And so we have some tremendous programs that we'll talk about in future editions of Program Spotlight, such as our micro business development program and our financial counseling, helping people with budgeting and credit scores and all those kind of important things these days. So we look forward to joining with PEG TV, this tremendous resource in Rutland County, to present to you the many programs at BROC Community Action, one at a time under this what we call Program Spotlight, BROC Talk. So with that, I want to introduce our guest today with Program Spotlight number one, and that is Amy Scott. Amy Scott is the director of our program for the BROC Community Food Shelf. So we're starting out with one of those essential needs. And as you can imagine right now, as people's budgets get tighter, as the rising cost of inflation strains those budgets, and on the heels of what we've provided for 2 years and 7 months, which has been pandemic recovery and relief, that we are now sort of seeing this on the other side of that pandemic, the need created by the rising costs, not only at the grocery store, but generally throughout people's budgets, that being gasoline costs and all of the home costs going up in some way. And then, of course, we're preparing for the cost of fuel, et cetera, to heat homes this winter, becoming a situation for families in Rutland County that will possibly create a need for them to turn to us for food. Having said that, we're very proud to have the BROC Community Food Shelf and the leader, Amy Scott, of that program. And one of the reasons we wanted to talk to Amy today is because one of the things we are not is just a food shelf. It's more of a feeding operation in many respects. And without stealing her thunder, I'm just going to tell you why we consider it sort of a feeding operation and has so many tremendous programs within a program, if you will. Let me introduce Amy Scott. Amy, welcome to the program.
Thank you for the great introduction.
And our number one guest and the first
program
Spotlight under BROC Talk.
Well, I think it's really interesting that you chose to have me on today, and I really appreciate it because we truly are serving a large community need.
Yes.
And I've seen that in the past. I've been with BROC Community Action now for 7 months. So, and I've seen us go from pandemic relief to now we're looking at a little bit of the post-pandemic and some programs changing. And so it has taken me this long to understand how many programs we have that are encompassed in the BROC Community Action Food Shelf.
Yes,
so
exactly.
We really have been providing a lot of essential services, like you mentioned, and carrying a lot of essential products.
Right.
And things that people need. So I think of it a lot as like a great community market. So, and it really is. It's a fantastic, beautiful, happy little place.
Now, we take for granted some of the basics, so why don't we start with that and talk about our days of operation and our hours of operation. We can start with the basics and we'll work up to the exciting things that we're doing at the food shelf.
Absolutely. Well, BROC Community Action has 2 food shelves. We have one in Rutland County and one in Bennington County. Our Bennington location, we've just recently expanded hours there. So our Bennington location is open from 9:30 in the morning until 12:30 in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. So folks can come in. There's a quick little sign up that you have to do, answer a couple of questions, and then you can actually access the BROC Community Action Food Shelf in Bennington twice a month now. So folks can go in and get some shopping done. In Rutland County, we have expanded our access as well. Not only are we doing our regular 10 to noon every day, Monday through Friday, shopping experience, but we also have added a senior food shelf, which is from 2 to 3 every Friday. And it kind of allows seniors to have a little bit of quiet time where they can come in and shop without quite as much going on, because of course, we are still worried about the pandemic and a little bit of COVID activity in our area. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and of course, seniors are allowed to come Monday through Friday, between 10 and noon.
Absolutely.
Any day of the week, but we carved out a special time on Friday afternoons we call Senior Hour, and give them that chance to have their own time. Kind of like it reminds me of some of the grocery stores that had done that during the pandemic, where they actually opened just to seniors from 7 a.m. to like 8 a.m. or something. They had their own time, and I think that was really smart, and I'm glad that we have it. I know it's become quite popular, and we love seeing the seniors on Friday afternoons.
It's really, it's a fun time for folks. I think
Yeah.
that it inspires a lot of that community kind of a feeling too. So
Right.
there's nothing like Senior Hour.
Exactly.
So,
Yep. Now, I should mention too that as a leader of the program, specifically we talk Rutland County today, that you have 3.5 staff, three full-time and a part-time, and then another person that does some driving for us, in addition to, of course, then some tremendous volunteers. So I just want to point that out, that we're pretty well staffed because it's a busy place, and that it's it's a dedicated staff and dedicated volunteers that perform this work every day that you lead.
we absolutely could not get it done without our staff and our volunteers. I was really lucky when I started to walk into a well-staffed food shelf, and all of our staff has stayed on, so you see a lot of familiar faces every time you come in.
That's a great point.
Things don't change very often.
That's a great point.
It's a kind of a blast. We are really lucky to have some phenomenal volunteers. Specifically, there's a lady named Sandra who has been working with us for a long time, well before I started, who was able to kind of help us cultivate this culture that we have, and really kind of show me the ropes and help me out. So, but it takes that community support and that community engagement. So to run this food shelf, when I started out this morning at 8 a.m., and there were pickups to do from all of the Fresh Rescue program. So we go to all of the grocery stores, and we have set times that we can visit them once a week, and they allow us to take some of their overstock so that we have it at the food shelf. Everybody has to go through those items and just make sure that they're perfectly put out on the shelves. So, and then we had the truck come from the Vermont Food Bank. So we had several pallets that came off the truck, and that was all this morning before we got started on PEC TV. So it's there's definitely plenty to do.
I realized that when we scheduled this for a Tuesday to record this program today, that it was on delivery day, and
there's not a busy day.
but you were up for it anyway.
So I certainly was. So, and it's because I have the backing of so many people and so many great community folks that help us out.
Yeah.
So, and we've been seeing a lot of folks that have been coming in and volunteering more recently. I think that folks feel like they want to, especially during this time and knowing that everyone's struggling, families are struggling, that they just want to find out a way to give back. Some folks can't give back financially, so they give back with their time. And we really sincerely appreciate it. So.
And I do want to point out with our two operations, one in Bennington and one in Rutland County, that there are people who do, as you said, support it financially and make very kind and generous donations, and anything from Rutland County stays in Rutland County, and the opposite is true. Anything that's provided in Bennington County stays in Bennington County.
Absolutely.
So, I think that's a fair, equitable way to do it, and it keeps them both operating just fine. So.
And there's a lot of equity in the system that's set up itself. So we have, through the Vermont Food Bank, we get a grant every year that's called Vermonters Feeding Vermonters, where we are able to spend money in our counties with our local farms. And one of our huge supporters in Bennington County has been Mighty Food Farm. This summer, we have amazing produce there, and we're able to spend with that local farm in Bennington. And then we support our local farms in Rutland. We work with Boardman Hill Farm and Yoder Farm and Evening Song Farm in Shrewsbury, and Duchess Farm in West Rutland. They've been phenomenal supporters. So we have the most beautiful produce that's delivered every Wednesday by our local farms.
So one I wanted to mention was the couple that came from Wallingford that had grown potatoes. So they actually had an intention to plant and grow the potatoes with the intent of giving them to the food shelf. And when they pulled up, it was literally a truckload of potatoes.
It was almost
and,
1,000 pounds of potatoes that
and
were
a bunch of us rolled
donated.
up our sleeves and went out and helped unload them, and it was fun. And they even still had the dirt on them. But
And that's really what it takes, and that was
amazing.
So
Yeah, but there's so many kind and generous people in the community that support these initiatives, so that we have enough throughout the year to be able to support the need, which the need in Rutland County has always been there, but as we discussed earlier during the pandemic, it's been greater, and now with the rising cost of inflation, the need continues to grow. So we see more and more people. By the way, we want to see more people. We're there for a reason, and we don't want people to think that they're taking food away from anyone else by coming to us, because we will find resources and we'll make sure there's enough to support the need. So we never want anyone to go hungry because they don't feel that they are in a place to, or someone else needs it more. We will find the resources. So we want, if you're watching, or if you just know somebody, a relative, a friend, or an acquaintance that is in need, we really want you to refer them to us. We have a pleasant atmosphere. It's a welcoming staff. We have tremendous people running the reception area. And like you said earlier, friendly faces, familiar faces, and everything we conduct at BROC Community Action, and particularly the food shelf, is done with respect and dignity all the way around. So it's quite a nice experience, actually, and
I
it's
really appreciate you mentioning that, because that's actually one of the number one things that we run into, and I especially believe that Vermonters specifically are very, very dignified people, and it is difficult for anyone to come in and say, hey, I could really save a couple of dollars right now. It would be really helpful. So I want folks to know that that's one of the big reasons why we work so hard to make sure that we have all of these beautiful fresh products, and that we have all of these things, specifically because we're really wanting to help families right now.
right.
They're having, even just buying a pack of diapers at this point is something that if you could save that money and put it towards a bill, that's what food insecurity is. Food insecurity is the choice between paying for groceries and paying for bills.
Right.
And at this point, we're all in the same boat. So we're working really hard to make sure that we source plenty. And trust me, we have plenty of food to go around. So, and luckily we
Well, and interrupt, I just want to say we do, but I don't want it, a lot of credit goes to you and your staff and the team at BROC Community Action. In other words, I don't want to make it sound like we have warehouses full.
Right, of course.
The point is that we step up to meet the need, and I need to, say that it's a lot of hard work you do to make sure that we have plenty.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of hard work.
Well, thank you.
And
I
that goes
appreciate
on
that.
all week long. Because sometimes those things may seem automatic. It's far from automatic. It's hard work to get those shelves constantly stocked, to find that inventory, and to get it into the building and stocked, and to pay for it all. But you accomplish it, and that's why you're able to sit here and say we have plenty.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Thank you, Tom.
In fairness,
really
there's
appreciate
so
it.
much hard work to get to the point where you can
Thank
say that,
you.
and it's an ongoing thing, as I know,
It
every
is.
day and every week and every month throughout the year.
And that's the biggest part of it. So right now it's finding sustainability in that system. So, and being able to sustain this work that we're doing. So a lot of the programs that we had that were coming down with federal funds and that type of thing are all, those are ending. So, and there's a lot of programs that are in our area that have been great and supportive through the pandemic.
Right.
And we've seen that change that folks are now able to access, and they know a little bit about it. So we want to
Yes.
make sure that we can keep that going, and it's through that
Exactly.
community support that we need to keep that going.
Exactly right.
So things like the milk program, which has been wonderful.
In case you're just tuning in, my name is Tom Donahue, hosting BROC Talk Program Spotlight, a new program that have undertaken here at PEG TV to highlight different important initiatives and programs at BROC Community Action by bringing in the program leaders to talk about their programs and how to access it for the public at large. And we appreciate you tuning in, and we'll look forward to doing a number of these episodes going forward. And of course, as always, we appreciate the great team, I should say, here at PEG TV that gets us on the air to get these important messages out to you. So my guest today again is Amy Scott. She is the program director for the BROC Community Food Shelf, and we wanted to talk about not only the basics of our hours of operation and those kinds of things, but talk about all of the things that go on a food shelf besides just some canned goods on the shelf. We're talking about balanced meals, and I wanted to just pick up real quick, Amy, for a second to touch on the fact that I heard you say the word diapers.
Mm-hmm. So we've had a lot of community support. We actually were given a great opportunity to spend some money and be able to go out and buy diapers for folks. So I have a little bit of a fund for that. One of the things that we also do is we work with other community partners, such as the Champlain Valley Diaper Bank. So luckily, BROC Community Action has provided with us a little van that we're able to drive up, and once a month I'm able to fill the van full of diapers and bring them back with us. So we have everywhere from newborn all the way through a size 6 pull-up. So,
Awesome.
And we always have those available for families. So it's a great way to be able to save a little bit of money and put a little bit of money back in your pocket at this point.
Yeah.
So diapers
It's
and
so
wipes.
important. Talk about a critical need.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, you don't necessarily think of that maybe with a food shelf, and that's why it's so important to mention these things as resources that we have available to families that have really been difficult for them to provide themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of really generous donations. There was the church with Father Bernie.
Christ the King and
Christ the King.
The Rutland
They had a beautiful
Wallingford
diaper
Catholic
drive.
Community is what that's called now, and
They were phenomenal.
they did the
in
diaper
supporting
drive,
us.
yeah.
So, so really,
yeah.
we've, our community kind of bands together during these times of need.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they really help each other out. And those things don't stop here. Those are things that we're always going to need and that we always need to have.
That's exactly right.
So,
Ongoing needs. And I also just want to mention, we just came off of completing what's called the Farm to Family Coupon Initiative, which is not our initiative directly. A lot of times we're the implementing organization. In other words, the state have a number of different programs, and they need the trusted community partner, the boots on the ground, if you will, in each community, that being the Community Action Agency in our case, to implement and get those out to the Vermonters that they are destined to serve. And Farm to Family coupons, which sounds like a neat name, but it's more than that. It is actually a coupon booklet that goes out to folks in need in Rutland County, and also a separate book for seniors, which is spending money basically in the booklet. $6 coupons, $30 regular and $48 for seniors, that go directly to the farmers markets locally. And what's phenomenal about that is it's over $13,000 in this little, what I call economic engine, that goes back directly to the farmers at the farmers markets specifically. But they're free to those who qualify that come into our food shelf, and we are the hub for distribution in Rutland County. So we distribute them throughout the summer, and they have to be used up this month, October, or as we like to call it, Brocktober. And we are proud to be able to implement that program, not only to help people access fresh fruits and vegetables and herbs at the farmers market, but to put some of those dollars back in the pockets of farmers locally. So you get sort of a dual benefit out of the Farm to Family coupon program. And that's something that is implemented through BROC Community Action and very specifically through our food shelf. that also people wouldn't think about necessarily when you think about a food shelf. Think of
Absolutely.
$13,000 worth of these fresh fruit and vegetable coupons going out, spent locally.
Yep, absolutely. So there's a lot of programs that we offer, and one of the big things that we try to do is to work with those Vermont products because we're so lucky to have them.
Yeah.
Our farmers and our local businesses are so instrumental in helping us feed in our community. So, and really, we work with Misty Knoll chicken. We get these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful packs of chicken that are in our food shelf. We always have them available. They're always there at this point. We have the Vermont salumi sausages, Cabot cheese, Miller Farm milk, which is this beautiful cream on top milk that you probably remember from a childhood dairy. So that's been coming in. We're very lucky to have the community that we have. They're very, very, very helpful, instrumental in feeding all of the folks that we feed.
And then on the other hand, too, we're also helping supplement budgets. So we are one of the distribution hubs, if you will, in effect, for Three Squares Vermont, which is the SNAP program. It's the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program that is a federal program channeled through the state. Vermont calls it Three Squares. And it's a little debit card that gets some financial assistance electronically transferred onto the card every month that people can then take to the grocery store. So, you can help underwrite the cost of your groceries at the local grocery stores with that EBT card. And we actually sign people up. So we help you. Well, a big part of what we do at BROC Community Action is application assistance. These days, the bureaucracy is
And that
a lot.
that application can be overwhelming for some folks. So to have someone that we have on staff, you can make an appointment, and it's actually a phone assistance appointment. So they'll actually go through the application process with you and fill out your application, and then you make an appointment to go and do your interview, and then that application is taken care of and it's off your plate. So it's really nice to have somebody who can explain those and maybe find some different spots where you're able to, claim different things so that you're able to maybe, bolster the chances of that application going through and working well for you. So having somebody with that much experience on hand to help you out is phenomenal.
Yeah,
so.
we know the nuances of each application, and that just helps underwrite. Right now, when costs are so high, having some funds to underwrite some of the costs of that trip to the grocery store is a significant help. And that is one of those programs, again, as I indicated, that you're not taking away from anyone else, because that one program that I'm aware of that's passed by the Congress has indicated that it is a program that will meet be available, and the funding will meet everyone who qualifies. So it won't run out in effect where you took it and somebody else didn't get it.
Right.
The law that's passed at the congressional level actually is that everybody who qualifies
And when you think about
receive
how much federal money that's bringing into our state economy, it's actually really, it's
Great
very
point.
helpful for Vermonters to sign up for those benefits. If you're eligible for those benefits, and most folks are, they've expanded those a little bit. So there's an overwhelming majority of folks in our community who are eligible for the benefits and may not know that they are. So definitely check with us at the food shelf at BROC Community Action, because we are there to not only, give food, but to also give assistance. And I mean, that's the whole point of the Community Action Agency, as far as I see it, is to throw a ladder out there. So folks have a way to kind of climb up and help themselves out. So.
Yeah. And I just want to point out, because it should be said, that in the old way, it used to be called, the program people may relate to as food stamps, and it's not that program anymore. And you don't get a booklet that you're taking the food stamps out, and so there's that stigma at the grocery store, and that, this is more respectful, dignified process where you actually have an EBT card and funds are transferred electronically, so that you look a little bit more like everybody else and you don't stand out, and it's not an embarrassment or an uncomfortable process.
It's very dignified.
Very dignified, and that's very, very important, because gosh, if people are in need of food, the last thing we want to do is make it difficult for them or uncomfortable for them to access food. I mean, You know,
Yeah.
it's one of those basic human needs that we need to be providing for each other and do. But there should be no reason that we should make that difficult or uncomfortable or embarrassing.
And especially now, we're getting into the holiday season.
Right.
So at this point, it's going to be more important for us to start putting a little bit more. But we've got some great programs coming up. I know in the past several years, you've done a little something called Stuff a Bus.
Yeah, so Stuff a Bus will be coming back up, and that is 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. We'll be at the, out there visibly. PEG TV is very involved with Stuff a Bus and has been since its inception 27 years ago.
Wow.
But that'll be something that we'll be talking a lot about. You'll hear coming up soon. It's obviously not till November, so we don't need to talk about it too much in Brocktober, but you'll be hearing a lot about it in November. And also, I did want to take just the last couple minutes of the program since you opened that door. It's perfect timing, great segue. Just to talk about the holidays a little bit, that's another important thing that you do during the holidays is help people to have turkeys on their
Yeah, absolutely.
on their dinner
So
tables.
we just spoke with with some of the directors at the Vermont Food Bank, and they have put out a call to ask who would like to be providing turkeys. So that's one of the things that we're going to be. We've started to set aside some hams and some turkeys, and we're getting ready. But all of the donations of those things we absolutely could use. We also, want to think about the folks that are new Americans and refugees.
Right.
So we have some halal meats that are coming in,
Perfect.
so that they can celebrate their holidays as well.
Awesome.
The holidays are for everyone. So in making sure that we have something that's available for everyone to be there, but definitely plenty for the families who are really going to need the help this holiday season.
Fantastic.
So we'd love to, stop that choice between maybe putting some toys under the Christmas tree.
Yeah,
So
and we'll be
and
talking
buying
about that
turkeys for
too.
dinner. So
That'll be another program spotlight. But I did want to mention, we did add the addition with some local assistance from Rutland Redevelopment Authority, the Vermont Food Bank from Efficiency Vermont, and even the Bertie Sanders Mitten Fund to create that great outdoor cooler that has access to the indoor food shelf that allows us to store literally 8,000 plus pounds of fresh fruits, vegetables, and meats in a freezer, refrigerator capacity that is outstanding.
And we plan to pack that for the holiday season. So it's
Exactly.
unbelievably helpful.
Yeah, and
So-
we got that addition done in the nick of time last season and gave it a trial run, and now that we're seasoned around that,
I can't imagine
put
how
it to
much
great
work
use.
that would have been without that
Yeah.
being there. It's really been
Yeah.
it's a game changer.
We're excited to have it and be able. It'll allow us to stock up to the where we're better prepared for the holidays when people are in need at a time when you don't want them to be without that.
Absolutely.
Everyone should enjoy that time, and so Brock Community Food Shelf is there for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Encouraging food security for the holiday season.
So again, I'm Tom Donahue, interviewing our guest on the program today, Amy Scott, who's Program Director for the BROC Community Food Shelf, and talking about many of the great things that are going on at our food shelf. But to find out more about us, it's simple. Just go to broc.org, B-R-O-C, broc.org. You can call us anytime at 775-0878. Now you got to use the 802, Amy. It's like,
I know.
we're getting to be a
Getting
big
used to
city
that.
now, 802. And 775-0878, that's our number. We have some tremendous people at reception. You get a human being every time. And again, broc.org on the web. But we're also, and you can find us, follow us, like us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, or on YouTube even. And so lots of ways to see all the great things going on a daily basis, because we update those daily on the internet as well. And of course, right here on PEG TV. So we do ask you to, and hope you'll stay tuned for future editions of Program Spotlight. We're excited to have Amy kick us off with Program
Thank
Spotlight
you.
number 1 on the BROC Community Food Shelf. But we want to thank PEG TV for getting us on the air and all the great work they do here. And thank you very much for watching today. Again, I'm Tom Donahue, your host for BROC Talk Program Spotlight.